Hello everybody, this is the Wargaming Guy. Welcome to part 3 of Patton Drives East. I'm having to do a little work on this one, guys. I recorded it, played it through, but then the file was corrupted, so couldn't use that one. So then I re-recorded it, but I messed up somehow, and the sound, my sound, didn't get recorded. So now I'm playing it back and I'm doing a voiceover. So for this slightly longer than 30-minute video, it's over 90 minutes of work to get here. And if you hear any banging, that's the wind's blowing like crazy and banging some stuff around outside. And it's getting to the summer here in Arizona, so I've got the air con on. So that's all what's happening there. So now, as you can see, I'm trying to beef up my forces in the Middle East here. The Russians have pushed through. They've captured Baghdad. So they've got pretty much a straight shot into the Middle East if they want to take it. I don't know if they will or not, but they could. They could drive over and take Beirut and then down into Egypt. So I have to do something about that. Meanwhile, we've got troops coming over from America. We've got subs in the Atlantic from the Russians. How many? I don't know, but I know they're there. We've gotten messages saying, they've been hitting our convoys. So they're out there somewhere, but exactly where is anybody's guess. So we got to track them down and find them. Meanwhile, it's October, so the weather's turned and everything's kind of slowed down in our offensive against the Russians. But we want to see what's happening because I think it looks like they're going to try to hold on to Königsberg, Warsaw, and down into, I want to say Prague, but that's not it. I'm looking at a little tiny map here. But anyway, Budapest, yeah. We obviously they're going to set up a line there. We want to try and crack that or at least dent it. And as you can see, they've got somebody in Warsaw. They've got a lot of arty and air power down here in the southern part of the map. So we're going to look at that. And so that was about it. So we're going to go ahead and move on. You notice the Italians actually got something in their research, which is pretty amazing and great. They are on our side, as are the Germans. And so the Russians are moving around here. It looks like they're trying to hold as far forward as they can in the south. Up in the north, it's hard to say, but it does look like they want to hold on to Königsberg and Moscow, maybe hold the Vistula River there and just see what they can do. Who knows? And bam, I just lost a unit. Between the air power and the paratroopers there, they wiped out an American corps. That's bad. So we've got an edge on them, there's no doubt at this point. But don't kid yourselves. They're still tough and they can be lethal when they want to be. So, here we go. Some American units. It's awesome. So we're going to place them over here and continue to try and figure out what's happening out here in the Atlantic to secure our supply lines. So we'll scout for some what? Oh yes, we hit a sub. So the Russians are all the way over on the American side of the Atlantic. It's a little alarming, to put it mildly. And yeah. Now these are cruisers. They're not destroyers. But what the heck? See what we can do here. And we did damage them a little bit. So that's all good. So we're going to wear them down. And meanwhile here, we're going to get this guy over to Egypt. And this guy, can he be upgraded? Yes. And he needs it, definitely. Going to make him as strong as we can, in case the Russians do get there. Same for the aircraft carrier. Get its planes up to snuff here. So I'm going to look at sending my naval unit over there. Should I do it to scout? Not now. And now we got to look at this nut to crack, as well as Warsaw, as well as Königsberg, where they are holding very tightly, and they're in pretty good shape there. So probably just go and reinforce this guy, move our British army up, get some of our HQs moving forward, and oh, look at that. Let's just see if we can beat this guy up really nicely. It'd be nice. Let's bring the air power in, and kabam, hit him, but that's all. So I'm used to 2 strikes, but apparently you don't get that in SC2. I don't remember for sure, but it seems to be the case. And, yeah, let's go ahead and pull these guys down, because I think the real battles that count are going to be around England. They're going to try and choke off our supplies, obviously. Reinforcements and supplies. And this guy needs... It's the downside, by the way, of having a big air force. The Americans have this huge air force, and it's powerful and it's great, but it sucks up a lot of MPPs to keep it up to snuff. So, yeah, I'd much rather be researching and building, but you can't just let these guys go to waste. So you got to do something with them. You know, upgrade, reinforce, or lose them. So we're going to move our air forces up here, get them more in range. And look at that, guys. We made quite a bit of progress since we started. That's good. But got a long way to go, too. So I will move Monte forward there. You'll notice in this game I almost always say Monte, which is silly and stupid, I know, but it's just, you know. I'm not a huge fan of Montgomery. I like to think I'm not an unreasonable critic, but I think was quite frankly overrated. Let's trying to pick on this artillery here. Man, that guy took 50% casualties. That was huge, much more than I thought would happen. As you can see, we're not moving as far as we could because the weather has changed. It's slowing us down. But going to get everybody as far forward as possible. Even these French troops, which are very weak. So the French have no research, but it's better than nothing. So, yeah. And these guys need updating too, don't they? Whoop, ran out of money. The perennial problem, early in the game especially, is running out of dough, or MPPs, or whatever you want to call it. Okay, so he's good. So I think what I'm thinking of doing here is let's go ahead and send him, but not to Europe. So let's send him down to the Middle East so that we have some kind of force there in case the Russians do decide to push down there, which they could do quite easily. So let's see what's up here. Oh, bam! We found a wolf pack or two. One's weak though, so if we could kill one off, that'd be awesome. Looking around, do I see any other naval units? No, I don't. So you can see the Russians are definitely trying to cut us off from America. In that sense, it's these games are kind of like a replay of the Second World War in Europe, in the sense that you have the Russians playing the part of the Germans with the big ground army, better air force usually than the Germans had, and no real surface navy to speak of, just subs out there. So it's similar but different to the historical battle. And can we do it? Can we buy it? Yeah, I'm just realizing I thought the whole screen was being recorded, and it doesn't seem that it is. Just odd because I'm seeing the whole screen on mine. I will have to check my settings on that. So the thing I don't like about OBS, it's a great program once you figure it out. But man, the settings are touchy. So you got to, and then I have to reset everything to record my more modern games. So being an older game like this, you really don't think how much. Oh, that's bad. Yeah, we don't want reinforcements for the Russians, but they're getting them. You don't think about how much things have changed even in the last, say, 8 to 10 years until you look at resolutions of screens, and then you realize, yeah, things have actually changed. So the Russian Navy destroyers pulled back, and here we've got the Russians maneuvering. You might think they're pulling back, but then, oops, maybe not, because look at this. They moved some guys forward here. Maybe some of their eastern reinforcements from the Japanese front. And the sub is going to stand and fight it out, but now he runs. And that guy takes off, and that guy takes off. So for the moment, the convoy lines are open, but yeah, you know, who knows how long that'll last. Game of cat and mouse out here in the North Atlantic, as it should be. And there's Zhukov in Minsk, overseeing the slow retreat of the Russian forces. And here we go. Boy, this guy's taking forever to get there. Anybody else? Don't see anybody. Let's move forward while I'm thinking about it, because I'm famous for forgetting to move my naval units. I'm pretty good at forgetting to move, he said, units, period, but my naval units, I seem to be particularly fond of it. Probably because I'm more of a land war kind of a guy. I don't know that much about naval warfare. It doesn't interest me that much either, so it's easy to just kind of let it go. Yeah, that guy's sitting in port. Let's bring him out here. See if we can track down these subs. But not yet. Seems like I'm best at finding them when I'm not looking for them. Well, they're not there. So that area seems to be fairly cleared out. But they could be like, 3 hexes away and you wouldn't see them. I'm sorry, squares. This is SC2, people. No hexes. Never forget. Okay, I think we're going to set up some kind of a line here just to catch the Red Fleet in the Baltic if they sally forth, so they don't catch us by surprise too much. And now let's look at upgrading this guy that we tried to last turn, couldn't do it. That's another turn he's not moving, but these guys can start moving. So we are going to get them on their transports and get them rolling. Because we need as much as... Yep, we need as much as we can get at this point. For some reason, my recorder just stopped, but I restarted it. I'm telling you, this video is cursed, man. But we are going to carry on. One way or the other, we're going to get this to you. I'm actually having fun with Patton Drives East, and we've had some questions, some response from the viewers, a little more than usual, so that's awesome. So we'll see how this goes. I think it's fun to do something different. I know it's not historical, but, that's okay every once in a while. After all, I am not the historical gamer. And I can prove that because I don't have the zillions of listeners or viewers that he has. I'm the war gaming guy, so if it's a war game, I'm in, definitely. There are a lot of historical games I don't play because they're not war games, and that's really my primary interest is the military angle. Okay, now let's see about this paratrooper. Can we do anything to get rid of him? He's really in a good spot, and he's just holding everything up. We got to take him out if we're going to push down into southern Europe, into the Balkans, because Yugoslavia is off limits at this point. So, okay, we're still moving guys up. But let's go ahead and hit it with the bomber. See if we can do any damage. And let's try that again. Let's see about this guy. Gotta check all my guys out here. See if we can pound him down a bit. Be awesome. And let's see. Let's use some of the... No? Yes? Wait. Yeah? Okay. Good. A little damage there. Let's see what we got. Ooh, look at that. A little defensive artillery. Shouldn't stop us. It damaged us, but we took him out. So now we can get moving a little deeper. And see about taking. Get in here and take Budapest. Awesome. Let's get moving here, people. And at the same time, I thought, yeah, let's go ahead and move around and see if we can maybe flank this southern group, although that guy definitely needs to be reinforced. Let's bring him over here and hit their artillery. With more artillery popping out of nowhere. The Russians have artillery, that's for sure. And, all right. All right, now, what about Warsaw? It's clearly the centerpiece of this line they're trying to form. If we could take Warsaw... Of course, not only is that the capital of Poland, which makes it politically important, but it also kind of, hopefully, would unhinge or at least provide a crack in any kind of a line they're trying to form along the river. Actually, you could still form the line on the river since Warsaw's on the west side of the river, but, you know, gives you a good jumping off point there. So... let's see what I can do here. So I'd like to take it, but of course I don't want to take huge casualties to do it. But that's not too bad, so we'll take a shot. And we'll move up with the armor, and boom. And boom! We cleared it, but now we can't take it. Who do we got? He can't do it, he can't do it, but the Brits can do it. And they do. That's what you call allied warfare right there. Americans clean it out. The British take it over. Meanwhile, we push forward. You can see our Baltic flank there. The right flank as we move east right now is really porous. It's not good. We just don't have enough bodies right now. That's why we got to get some more guys from the States over here, and the British need to make more troops, and the French guys need to get up here and try to find a quiet spot in the line to put them. That's better now. Looking a little better. So we actually do have one army over the river down there near Königsberg, so that's good. That's good. All right. So we're doing not too badly here, I think. Meanwhile, what about... what are we looking for here? Yes, our navies. Yeah, let's check him. And not sure what I was looking for at the moment here. Can't quite remember, but it doesn't matter because now we're going to let the AI take a shot at us. All right, so Poland is liberated, even though we only have like less than half of it, but that's okay because we got the capital. That's how it works. And it looks like they might be pulling back here, but you can't trust them. It's interesting that they leave some of the Zardi units in what is essentially the front line. Of course, they don't have too much to worry about from the French unit, that's for sure. But the Americans and the British, that's a different story. Let's see what they're going to do. They've added another unit there. And he's a big one, so... okay. Yeah, we don't need any more Russian units, but we're going to get them. So, that's just the way it goes. So it's January, height of winter. So, you know, we actually don't want to be in Russia right now, but if we can soften them up and prepare our own forces and get ready for when spring hits to really roll forward, then maybe we'll have, you know, Barbarossa 2.0 and see what happens. Because remember, goals are Moscow and Stalingrad, so that's where we want to go, if we can get there. Let's see. Yeah, well, they can reach him, so let's have at him. Get the Red Air Force still in there swinging. Yeah, get my fighters up to strength again, reinforce them. And get these bombers up. And let's see if we can take this town. Maybe no? Okay, let's move them up. Let's get them up. That Western Air Force is just like amazing to look at. It's like, ooh, look at that. We can upgrade the British fighters. They've got an upgrade, so that's a good deal. So the better our fighters are, the quicker we can knock down their fighters and, of course, protect our bombers. Suffer less casualties, save MPPs for other stuff. All right, let's see what we can do here. And get some artillery and not that big of a thing. All right, what about this? Yeah, what about that? Come on. All right, let's go ahead and attack this artillery here. See if we can weaken their defense. Pick one. And, of course, you're going to get hit by other artillery. It's like artillery covering artillery covering artillery. And this guy is going to go right up to the border with the Soviet Union. So, like I said, Barbarossa 2.0 getting closer. And look at that. That's pretty hefty. Those are some of those veterans. We need to work on them for sure. Push our line forward without risking getting cut off. That would be bad. It's easy to do. With these squares instead of hexes, it is much easier to slip between the lines than you're used to in a hex-based game. Because you can move through any point in the square, including the corner of the square, into the next square, if you have enough movement points. So you got to watch that. That makes it tricky. All right, so let's operate this guy. And there he goes. It's not quite as far forward as I wanted to, but the rail lines are shot in Germany and Poland. So we, of course, in Poland, we probably would have to convert them to our gauge because the Russians probably converted them over to their gauge. Russian rail gauge being wider than Western rail gauge. Of course, the Germans had that problem. When they entered, they had to redo all the rail lines, and when the Russians pushed them back, they had to redo them. So, you know, it's insane the amount of work that went into that. All right, so this guy's in El Alamein now, so he's close now. So at least we've got something on the ground in case the Russians decide to push. They are not yet, though. It's interesting. I was expecting they would do that, but they're not. Which kind of is okay with me. If they're going to face me, I'd probably just rather deal with them where I'm strong than where I'm weak. Right? So, what the heck? All right, we have bought Charles de Gaulle for France. We, the French, have Charles de Gaulle. Their one and only leader, and if you asked him, if he was alive today, he would tell you he is the one and only leader that they ever needed. So Charles de Gaulle was many things: humble, shy and quiet. Not some of them. He was, let's say he was a really self-confident guy. How about that? There we go, looking for some of these destroyed armies that I can purchase for half price, which is an awesome thing when you're trying to rebuild your troops in a hurry. And let's see, what can we do? All right, we can upgrade this fighter. Yeah, we want to do that. Let's get these jets in the game here. So we're checking around, making sure I can get all my Brit fighters upgraded as possible, as many as possible, because it's just going to make things so much better. And again, I get hit with the rough seas, man. I have the worst luck with rough sea. I don't know why. Ooh, look at that. An armored unit just popped up. So there, and a strong armored unit, veteran armored unit. Oh, another unit, and another unit. Yeah, they're getting their guys forward now. They want to make a stand here. They do not want us to get into the motherland. And I suppose in the case of the Balkans, they don't want us to get down to Palesti either. Although Russia certainly had a lot of oil. How well they could get it up to the front's another matter. But they had all those thousands upon thousands of trucks that we sold them, so probably pretty well. Or not sold them, we gave them. Ah, look at this. The Germans have arrived. The Germans now have a corps in the fight. They have no leader. We will try and do that for them later if they ever get enough MPPs going. Obviously, the choice would be Rommel. I know Rommel should be dead, but hey, none of this should be happening. So if you're going to be ahistorical, why not go ahead and give it to Rommel? He would have been probably, of all the German generals, if he had survived the war, he would have been the most politically acceptable to the Western Allies, given his reputation, even though, of course, actually, he was, early in his career, very pro-Hitler. He only turned against him later when he realized how he was going to just destroy Germany. And Rommel certainly loved his country. But he was definitely under the sway of Hitler for quite some time, quite often. So, but you know, he was just a guy, just like all the rest of us. That's the thing, when you get far enough away in history and you can really look at all the facts and be honest with all these people. All of these people had feet of clay, all of them. Eisenhower, Patton, Bradley, every single one of them. Monty, they all tried to present themselves with whatever their image was. You know, Monty is the kind of the genius that not only did he never lose a battle, but he never changed his battle plans, which is totally bull. And Bradley was the humble, you know, he was the soldier's general, the GI general, the humble guy. Actually, he had one heck of a temper, would fire people at the drop of a hat, and was fairly thin-skinned. Patton's shortcomings are pretty well known. A lot of these other guys aren't, unless you really have read some of the newer works on them. And so it's just fascinating when you get to this point and you just realize, you know, these people, they did great things or horrible things, but in the end, they're people just like you and me. So there you go. End of little inspirational sermonette. Or maybe that was depressing for you. I don't know. It's part of history, guys. Now, where do I want this guy to go? You can't really stop people right there because you can see that rail line going through the Sinai. It splits off, so there's really two ways to get across the Sinai into Egypt. But at least I got somebody there. So, all right, now we're probing around down here trying to figure out what the heck is going on. Let's see if we can hurt this air unit. And now, look how they haven't totally pulled back. They're not set up well to hold here. They're trying to. They want to. You can imagine Stalin has ordered no retreat, no surrender. Boom, they're losing the city. So now there's really no reason for that guy to stick around. Meanwhile, Tito down in Yugoslavia is staying out of it, at least for the moment. So now we're in the Soviet Union. The French have entered first, interestingly enough. Napoleon might be turning over in his grave at this point. But there you go. And it's time once again to move some of our bombers up and use the rest of them. Because now that we've taken Warsaw, we've taken there, we've sort of unhinged this defense line. Now we're going to have to take a crack at this northern edge of it here where they've really stacked up some troops. And of course, Königsberg's a very important city for the Germans and for us. So we definitely want it as soon as we can get it. Unless, of course, that's going to involve mass casualties, in which case maybe we can wait a little while. So, all right, do the check. I was thinking about taking the guy out of there, but no, the French, there's no sense in bothering that French guy. The French don't have enough MPPs to really support him. So we will just leave that be and checking around here. Let's look at our research. America, we do need to up our research and our categories. As much as I want units, research is critical to give us that quantitative edge on the Russians. So you have to do both. You have to balance it, of course. And we'll see how well I do as the game wears on. The thing about this kind of stuff is if you make mistakes now, you don't usually see it for a little while, but then it shows up later. So anyway, I hope you're enjoying this Patton Drives East. Let me know what you think. I'm having fun playing it. Hope you're having fun watching it. And if you got any thoughts or whatever, let me know. Be sure and give me the big thumbs up if you like this video. And to subscribe if you haven't. We picked up a couple of new subscribers lately. Thank you, everybody. Let's keep going. I'm still trying to get to 200. No, not 2,000, not 200,000 like the big channels. Just a measly 200. That's all I ask. Until I get there, and then I'm going to ask for more. But anyway, I'd appreciate it if you could do that. So till next time, this is the Wargaming Guy saying thank you so much for watching, everybody. Hope you had a blast. Take care out there. And I will see all of you just a little bit later. So long.